Hey guys, what is going on? Phly here. Welcome back. In today's video, we're taking out the Russian mid-tier fighters into some arcade battles. You guys don't know about me, but I used to play arcade all the time before I got peer pressure to play realistic. But that's not the whole point of this video. The main point of this video is to talk about how I potentially saved 155, well, 134, I don't know if anyone was in first class, passengers on my plane back to North Carolina from Chicago over the Christmas holiday. So I do apologize right now. This is the live commentary if I get distracted in the gameplay, but god damn, is this map gorgeous. Let's get started. So it was just after my birthday. It was the 28th, and I was hungover as shit. It was 4:30. My plane, I woke up at 4:30 to catch my plane at 6 at Chicago O'Hare. And so, you know, I'm like gurgling, I don't feel good. I'm like, oh, why did I do that last night? I knew I had to like take off and travel and get pressurized at 8,000 feet. Oh, I feel horrible and throw up on this plane. So, I went over to McDonald's, got some food, me Americans, best hangover food at the airport. Airport food's fucking expensive, boys. There ain't no dollar menu in the airport. Okay. So anyways, you guys know I was hungover, right? You guys know I was not in the best shape to have my eyes open. Alright, so the plane boards nicely. Everyone gets on, And then I spot, I'm just like, on my phone. I was watching a video that Baron tweeted me last night. It was the Game Theorist. I'm just watching about some stuff over there. And so I get done with the video, and then I look out the window. And I see the aileron up at a 45-degree angle on the ground. Now, some things went through my mind. I didn't freak out right when I saw it. Let me kill this guy real quick. Is his wing gone? So I didn't freak out right then. I went through two possibilities. One possibility is that they're working on the wing before takeoff. Someone's behind me. And the second one was that they had the aileron corrected for the ground wind on, so the plane wouldn't, be disruptive on the ground. But then I saw that there wasn't a lot of wind outside when I boarded the plane. There wasn't a lot of wind through the jetway. And then, sorry, this story's and then I'll try to keep it fluent. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm gonna wait until we do our run-up, do our pre-flight checklist before we're pushed back. And then so I see that the ailerons were checked on. The trim was checked and the ailerons were checked, but the right aileron wouldn't go down when he was checking, and it's supposed to go up and down, but it wouldn't go up and it wouldn't go down. So I'm like, all right, I have to say something. But in the back of my mind, I was like, this cannot be true. Why? It has to be a reason for this. I'm way out of line to call this out of proportion right now, Shouldn't there be like, double checks and triple checks for this before takeoff? And I'll put some pictures on the screen so you guys see what I was talking about, because I was tweeting about this and Facebooking it in real time while it happened. And I'm like, all right, so I'm really nervous to tell him because I might be out of line, and this is, this can't happen to me. I had a kind of like, what kind of feeling? I don't know, this can't happen to me, kind of invincible feeling. I don't know why. So I waited until we were about to take off, and I was like, why hasn't anyone noticed this? And I'm not a man of destiny or, much faith, but I was like, why in the world was I put in the seat right now while I was hungover? Why do I notice this? And then so I built up enough courage, and I was like, all right, I have to tell him, because we were on a fast taxi to take off. And so when that happened, I looked up, rang the stewardess bell, and it made a loud noise, and everyone was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Does the guy want alcohol in the morning? I'm like, yo, fuck you, whatever. And so she comes over, and I'm like, ma'am, the right aileron is locked up in a 45-degree angle. And she looks at me, and I didn't tell her I was a pilot. I just didn't get the chance to. Plus, it really wouldn't matter. I fly single-engine planes that don't have hydraulics, so I was very out of line for this statement. And she looks at me, she looks outside, and then she says, "Okay, I'm gonna give a call," because she looked kind of like she didn't know what was going on. I mean, she's a flight stewardess. She's supposed to be concentrated on what's... I can't aim at shit. Whatever. I'm telling a story. Whatever. She's concentrated on the effectiveness of the plane inside. You know, everyone's okay, no one's throwing up, etc. Well, that's another story. So she goes, "I'm gonna give a call." I'm like, "Okay, thank you." And then so she calls, and I hear, "Sorry to disturb you," because you're not supposed to call the captain on, at least from my knowledge, you're not supposed to call the captain when they are in, usually there's a thing, I forgot what it's called, but the radio comms, they have to be quiet in the cabin or in the cockpit to hear ATC properly, to take the right taxiway, to do the procedures properly, so you shouldn't disturb them. And so I heard the flight stewardess go like, "Hey, I'm sorry to disturb, but a passenger seems to see something on the right wing." And then so she comes back to me and she says, "I gave him a call." And I'm like, "What do you fucking mean you gave him a call?" And at this point, I was in a cold sweat. I was like, fuck, you know, like, this is Final Destination. Like, literally, I saw my life like kind of flash in front of me at that moment, because she was like, "Don't worry, I gave him a call." And I'm like, no, you don't give them a call, you tell them this is an issue. And then I was like, fuck it, whatever. I did my best because I was hungover. I was just like, God, this plane's OP. I was like, all right, whatever, maybe, you know, whatever. I was kind of like, I didn't want to do anything more because I thought I was out of line, you know, with this thing. And then we're taxiing, and then the engines decrease throttle, or, you know, RPMs, and then we take a very strange left away from the taxiway, and then the brakes come, and then the seatbelt like announcement thing comes on, like bing. Just, I don't know why there was no announcement or anything, but it came on, and all of a sudden the pilot comes out of the cockpit, out of like the bulletproof cockpit area, and gets out of there and walks down the aisle and looks out the right wing where I was sitting. And you know, that's fucking freaky if you're a passenger and you have no aviation knowledge at all. Like, why is a pilot looking out the right wing right out of my window? And if you guys don't know, this was a McDonnell Douglas or MD-80 or 88 or Super 8, I forgot. But very reliable workhorse, very beautiful plane, has a very good safety record. But anyway, so he looks out the wing, and then he goes back to the cockpit and asks the captain. I'm pretty sure that was the first sergeant. Fuck, I forgot what they're called. First something. I'm sorry, I'm derping. But so he goes back in the cockpit and asks the pilot to, or the captain to, roll the ailerons. And then so you can see the first whatever could see that the aileron wasn't working. And then so he goes back in the cockpit and they make an announcement: "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a technical issue with something blah 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 blah, some bullshit." And we go back to the hangar, or the gate where we initially departed from. And now there's been many things on my Facebook page from people saying that this, you know, they have to go back to the hangar or the gate, you know, if there's any type of, you know, liability to safety. And so I don't know if it was that, but the reason why I don't think it was a liable issue is because, or, you know, one of those things where they have to go back just, you know, for protocol, is because they worked on the wing for about an hour and a half. And, you know, they didn't just go back there, you know, just to, you know, fuck around. They were actually out there, you know, opening some of, like, the hydraulics, whatever, working on it for an hour and a half. And so the pilot made this thing, was like, yeah, this happens every so often. The ailerons really aren't connected to the plane or something. I didn't understand what he meant. But we got out, we got on our way, and oops, we finally departed in the same plane after about 2 hours of sitting there. And yeah, so that's the story. Hope that made somewhat sense. Hope I didn't use too many ums, and it was fluent. And so after the whole ordeal, it was fine taking off. We landed in RDU. The stewardess came out and said, "Thank you very much. We don't really check those things, or whatever." Russian planes OP. And so yeah, so I was very concerned, and I don't know if it was fate or destiny, but I believe I potentially saved some life, or some sort of emergency not operation, direction, emergency protocol, having to take off. Because I think three things would have happened. One, that the pilots would have realized what was going on during takeoff. They would feel very violent yaw to the, or rolled to the right on takeoff and abort landing super quick, full brakes, full reverse thrust. Second thing is that the pilots would have taken off and had to correct, maybe decrease engine power in the right, and so the ailerons would balance out, maybe use some rudder. I'm pretty sure that the pilots could have corrected for that malfunction easily if the right aileron was locked in an up position. And the third one, which I was fearing for my life when it happened, was that not just my life, but the passengers on board and flight safety, because like 2 days before or a day before, the Air Asia went missing. Like it was fucked. So it was very, very intense to call that out on a plane. What would have happened is that we would have taken off, we would have climbed about maybe 10 or 20 feet, and we would have pitched over violently and crashed. Now it might not be a casualties, but it could potentially be a very catastrophic to the plane, and maybe hurt some passengers, or in the worst case scenario, kill some people. Wow, that was a pretty sweet shot. So yeah, and that is it. It was just a very weird situation. I've never had that happen. I hope that I didn't delay him without reason, but I think that the whole basis behind my spotting of that was justified in them having to actually repair it, or do some type of repair to it to get it so it's a level aileron. But another question I have is that why in the, like, what the fuck does ground crew do? I mean, cause sure, it's the pilot's responsibility and to look around the plane and make sure that everything's looking in order, very sparsely. But also, like, the ground crew didn't even fucking know what was going on. Like, these motherfuckers are just waving like short lightsabers around, hey, come in here, let me unload. Like, they need to be trained on what to look for on a plane. They need to be, because they're the last line of defense if anything's wrong. Like, any type of spoiler is deployed, because in those big planes you cannot see your wing. Some of them, especially the MD-88s and the MD-80s with the wings so far back, because they have a tail engine. So it's very questionable of how they hire people. I mean, it wouldn't be more than 5 hours of education on, hey, this should be like this on takeoff, this should be like this on takeoff. But yeah, it was definitely an experience. Definitely my flight education came into effect, it seemed like, which was, very funny, because I'm a private pilot with very little hours, and I really don't practice my flight education at all, other than in a video game, or this time real life. So hope you guys have enjoyed that story. I hope it made sense. The pictures, if you want to, the pictures should be in the video right now, or wherever they should have appeared in the video. But if you also want to see the live or the post, whatever, on the Facebook. You can go to my Facebook page and you can see how it unfolded. All right, guys, take care, be safe, be proactive on airplanes. Don't take anything for granted because your life could be at stake, all right? Just because you're a passenger doesn't mean you can be the last line of defense. All right, guys, peace out.